Hey, this is Neil Brown Jr. I'm with Chris Gordon on Hellblazer Biz.
So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everybody who is watching and listening. As you can see, I have the honour and definitely the privilege of one of the actors, my favourite actors from my favourite TV show at the moment, Neil Brown Jr. How are you? Thank you for joining me.
Doing well. I'm doing well.
Brilliant. Yeah, no, I've had to lock my wife in the other room for this interview. So she said you want to keep me away from that one. I was like, right, okay. Yeah, no, I've got to say, I do appreciate you coming on. I mean, I know how the schedules that you do keep. I've spoken to people from when they did Lethal Weapon, Lucifer and stuff, and obviously SEAL Team. The amount of hours that you guys film, you mean, it must be, 13 to 16 hour days you're out there, is it? Pretty much?
Yeah, easy. And that's not including drive time.
Yeah. That's a tough regime. Yeah, that's a pretty brutal regime, to be fair. But at the end, and it pays off in numbers because I mean, so many people actually love the show, and it's
fun. Man.
Yeah,
we put, for all the long hours, and it doesn't stop on the weekends because when we're on the show or we're filming for those 10 months that we film. You don't really have a weekend because it's taken up with all kinds of other stuff. And whether it's training or studying, there's just endless amounts of stuff to do. But essentially, you're just playing pretend for a living. So we're all kids. So we're all just big kids. So, I mean.
Exactly.
You never grow up.
Yeah, big kids, and you get to play with the latest technology and the latest weaponry as well that the SEALs use, and the night vision. What could you ask for?
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. It's like every lad's dream. It's something I would look. I think when I spoke to Justin, the first time he was still filming and on set, and he just sent me a selfie because he said he was on set filming. I was like, yeah, that's fine, I appreciate that. But then he went to prove it, and I was like, well, you don't have to. But he sent me a selfie of him in the car. And I can't remember who was in the car with him, but he was just leaning out the window with a rifle like that, and I was just like, wow.
It was AJ or Max?
I think it was AJ, to be honest. I look back at it, yeah. It was just difficult. At the time, I was only just recapping, so I was getting used to the beard, so I still couldn't work.
Yeah. It would be AJ. We have a really, really cool one where I'm outside on top of the roof. Taking down actually a friend of mine who's from London, Roger Davies, an actor.
Yeah,
that's a good brother, and he got to do the show, so I get to tag him and his boys. We're just driving, and they Jason like, get him, come out the side, get on top of the car, and just hammer down. I drop. And then the car to a stop. It's a really cool episode. That one's cool.
Oh, brilliant! Can't wait.
The one we got Christmas. Well, right before Christmas.
All right, awesome. I'm trying to remember. There's just so many cool. It's just. No, it hasn't not been aired, right? That's when you filmed it. It's coming out after the mid-season break. Yeah.
Yeah, mid-season break. Yeah.
Excellent.
It's gonna be cool. It's gonna amp up.
Brilliant. And it is. I mean, it's a show that has taken. I would say taking the world by storm because questions that I've got coming in are people from. I've got people from obviously the UK, the States, Australia, the Reunion Island, which is, off the coast of Africa. It's everywhere. I think it touches people so much because when I spoke to the other guys, it's the same thing. It's just, I mean, I've got a love for the military and and a respect for the military anyway, but I think a lot of people have. But watching SEAL Team, I mean, I watched Band of Brothers, and I think it was either Ruffin or Judd. I said I like it. I say SEAL Team for me is like a modern Band of Brothers. It is that good. Band of Brothers, superb quality, and that's what No, you're welcome. Yeah, that is for me. That's how I like it. It is a modern Band of Brothers because that's what you are, and it hits home a lot more. Especially episode 12, which we've just seen as well, because obviously catching up, where you rescue the girl from. Who ran to ISIS?
Oh yeah, Jihadi.
Jani. Well, no, you've seen my names. The names could slip me. Yeah. But yes, that was
Jihadi.
Yeah.
She nice Russian actress. She's from push it to the limit. What's this? The High School Musical.
Oh, right, okay.
Actually, one of the stars of High School Musical.
Oh, cool.
I didn't even know. I just looked at her and said, used to be a dancer because of the way she walked. She was very, very sweet. Awesome young lady, and she was there, and right there in the pocket with us, and she had to deal with a lot because you come to the show, and we're jokesters, we're kidders, and then all of a sudden, boom, 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 and it's like, if you're not accustomed to that or being on sets like that, it can take you out of it a little bit. You know what I mean? But she was right there in the pocket with us, and she gave a lot, and appreciate it.
Yeah, it's a great performance from her. To be fair, I was going to ask you about that because after seeing that, how did you personally feel? Because that submission, like I said before, it's like a very modern Band of Brothers in the fact that things that go on in the show are things that are actually happening, and what the boys in the Navy SEALs and other special ops and forces are actually doing at the moment, out in Syria, out in Afghanistan, out in wherever they are in the world. That's what this is the thing, especially like battling ISIS. But that storyline for me, particular. I mean, we've had one recently. I think where some I can't remember if we've had special forces from the UK go out or whether we've had. I can't remember. The news headline was someone who was in that situation. She'd run off to be ISIS bride, and then she wanted to come back, and she was desperate to come back. This, that, and the other. And obviously, there's been a huge storm in the UK about it. For the same reasons that Sonny came out with, because that was so well filmed in that episode, because you guys obviously having to keep level-headed as a SEAL team because you were there for your mission. The mission is to bring her back regardless of who she is, regardless of what she's done, and you've got to take emotion out of it. And I can imagine how hard that would be for the real guys, obviously, because Sonny, the character of Sonny, had difficulty in in withholding that, obviously with his wise cracks that he does anyway. But you could see the conflict in there.
Last year, when we had to rescue not a traitor, but a Marine who had walked off. It was based on a true story.
Yeah.
He had left his post and then ended up getting captured, and we had to trade. He was very upset at the guy, did not like him, but by the end, his humanity took over and his compassion. It's the same thing that happened with us. You have to take the emotion and get the job done. You see that Ray, the girl, Alicia is her name, the actress group. She's asking Ray to pray for her and all of this stuff, and people they latch on to Ray's humanity and how he can be very compassionate, but you also got to understand Ray's doing a job. So does he have room to let emotion come in? Maybe he doesn't feel like praying for this girl right now. Maybe he doesn't actually have the compassion that he looks like he has. Yeah. But instead of getting blown up, I mean, the guy is a spy. He's a trained spy. In addition to being the SEAL, he's part of a program where he can drop somewhere and kind of disappear. Yeah. Get information and just so where does the job and Ray start and end? I think that was really cool to play. Because, Sonny couldn't hold his emotions. Sonny's like, Ray's very good. Yeah, he knows how to compartmentalize. He's like, listen, you got to calm this girl down. Okay? Yeah. But I think that it's, innately, Ray has a particular soft spot for people who can't help themselves, or people who are in need. He doesn't like bullies. He hates bullies. That's where it comes from. He hates bullies and those who can't protect themselves and those who can't fight back as hard as he can. So for women alone, I mean, the less fortunate. He's got sisters and a mom. His father passed away, so he's very good with women. He has a full of compassion, which is why he is the way he is with his wife. So very sweet.
It is. There's a great relationship they have on set with Ray and his wife.
Carissa Fakhri kills it.
Oh yeah.
Well,
She's another one. I mean, that's the thing as well. I mean, I was going to say Ray is. I mean, there's a question which I'll go into later, but someone has put Ray's the character who's the character who has his shit most together out of the entire team, which is what you just explained there. So we'll go into that. But yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing. I think again, which works is because every single one of you guys work as. I mean, you're all professional actors anyway, so it's what you do as a living. But you all gelled so
professional. I don't know.
Most of you.
Most.
Yeah. You know, but you gelled so well together, and again, I think that is so important in something like a show which like SEAL Team and things like that, and that does come across on the screen, because there are times when that you get egos involved in some things, and but with SEAL Team, it's not. You haven't got that at all. And well, what I say you haven't, but there might be but it doesn't seem like that. You guys you're so friendly with backstage photos, backstage videos, with the fans. You absolutely, the way the way you reach to the fans as well. It makes the whole family. It makes everyone around the world become part of the SEAL Team family, because you're so interactive with everybody, and you tweet people, and it just. From a fan's point of view, like myself, when you get retweeted, or someone like yourself, when you like something or like a tweet, or just even respond, it makes someone's day, because it's like, oh my god, we watching these guys who we think are representing heroes, and you just reached out to us as a fan, and it can change. It can really uplift someone's day.
Well, a lot of that, it's a lot of different parts. It's a lot of to unpack. Big, huge part of that is David Boreanaz alone. I mean, he's been doing television so long. He's not only been doing television a long time, he's been at the top of his game for such a long time. He very much realizes, where egos belong and don't belong on set. Yeah. He understands how very precious fans are. He loves his fans. He kind of sets the tone of camaraderie in a lot of different ways. He's also a big child. Who won't stop playing. He is forever joking around, grabbing, picking, poking product, just making it fun, because, like you said, we're essentially big kids. Also, where it's it started with casting. Risa Ramon Garcia saw what was in these characters, so she looked for those things inside people that she cast. They knew the archetype. They knew how they wanted Ray to be. They knew how they wanted, Sonny. For AJ, the Sonny role was written with him in mind. Yeah. Cast before him, just because there were things that were going on. I was the first person cast on the show, and I was fortunate enough to go in with her. My first audition of this pilot season, my first time with Risa, and she just immediately said, "Oh, this is the stuff that they're looking for," and I understood him, but. AJ was perfect for Sonny, and Max perfect for Clay, and David perfect for Jason. This guy who is a leader with a lot of heart, a lot of compassion for his team. Yeah, and just always wanted to get the job done. So when we all got together, there was no work to be done. There was just everybody was like, "All right, I'm gonna just be me, and then see what happens." And it just all. AJ is hilarious. He's one of the few people I know. Like, I'm quick. I'm very, very quick with it. But it's hard to keep up with AJ. He's got ADD, and it just and it's like he is so sharp with it. Yeah. Is a terrible kidder. He can prank like nobody's business. And David is just, like I said, a big, lovable teddy bear kid who's just always doing something silly. Even in the midst of the scene. And I think it all comes off the camaraderie. Like, these guys, I hang out with them, they all mess with each other so much, and it's just so funny. And then Ray is trying to be... Ray has a very a funny, kind of cynic, kind of like dry humor streak. Yeah. But he, he's trying to be the foundation. Like, okay, guys, all right, let's stop joking. We got the job done. And the rest of them are like party pooper. But Ray wasn't always like that. So, it's just like I said, so much to unpack, so many things like that. But the casting, the writing, the energy of each prospective actor as it pertains to how we all feel about this job, about this work, about the veterans, about who we're working with. I think it just all was a perfect storm of awesome.
Yeah, perfect storm. That's the right phrase. I really do. It's just like you say, because I mean, I know obviously the amount of over 300 veterans and stuff who work on the set as well. So it's just overall, it's and you got Tyler obviously on the actual team. You got Justin with Dieter.
We got a lot more. I mean, we can't speak of everyone that's on the show because we don't put all their business out there. But 90% of our stunt force are all former team guys. Everything, Marsoc, JSOC, they're all former Dev Group, Gold Squadron, Red, Force Recon, Marine Fast Units. Like everybody's a team. My stunt double was in the Navy.
Tony Stahl. Is it Tony Stahl who's your stunt double?
No. Tony Stahl's my stand-in.
Oh, okay.
No, my stunt double, Jonathan Grady. He's police in the Navy. He does. I mean, he's so phenomenal. I'm so blessed to have him. Native American brother who just makes me look good. I mean, when I use him, I don't get a chance. It's interesting because I don't use him really that much. But he's always there for me. If we're doing like a fast rope or school, I'm not certified. I'm like, Jonathan, pick me up. Other than that, I do everything just because I figure as long as I have the ability to do it because I won't always be as lithe now, and these knees won't always work the way they do. Same thing with David and everybody. They're all in the pocket ready to go as long as we can. Outside of anything too dangerous. But when we're hanging outside the helicopter, like doing a bank and like you go vertical to horizontal and back, that's me.
Wow. How does that feel? Because I've always wondered that. Because when I've seen like even vintage footage right back to Vietnam, and they're sitting on, I've sat in a Huey, which flew in Vietnam, and I sat on the edge, and it wasn't flying, but I see the footage, and you guys just sit on the edge of this thing, and it banks left and right. How the hell do you stay on?
Well, it's funny because it's interesting because when it flies and it turns up like that, you don't really fall for it. You kind of, it's almost like centripetal forces. It's like just kind of lean back in, like lean into it, and it won't go. We are hooked in, but you don't really feel like you're sliding out.
Yeah,
the force is moving. You should have saw these Cobras, man, and this new epic, the stuff they were doing. I'm like, how did it still have lift?
Yeah. Maneuverability on those things amazing.
I studied aerospace science and aeronautical engineering, and sometimes helicopters, where they say airplanes want to fly and helicopters want to kill. Yeah. The stuff that they do, I just still don't understand it. Because these helicopters with these blades, they're trying to tear itself apart. Yeah. But somehow it works. But yeah, that's us. And out there firing, and it's all cool. It helped me get over, I guess, a perceived fear of heights. I was never afraid of heights. I just didn't like them. I love them, and then don't like. I like the feeling, like, but then not really. You know what I mean? Yeah. Now I'm just like, whatever.
Fair enough.
We're going through things. That's fine. I just hung outside them so long shooting, and when you're focused on like trying to hit this particular mark, you forget that.
Yeah, where you are. Like, you're hovering in a couple hundred feet.
Like, don't look around. Yeah. Wait a minute.
Yeah, that's a good thing, though, isn't it? Take your mind off it, and it gets you. Yeah, like you say, you've probably got over a few of your fears that you had now, so you can go forward and do other stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Now, I'll be really impressed if you tell me the Halo jumps are you guys from.
Man, a lot of niggas not doing it, man.
Cool. Okay. No, that would have been impressive.
I do. Actually, fell. This was the only time I've ever fell during the stunt. Was like we were all bunched up, and I hate messing up on anything.
Yeah.
my wife gets on me all the time because I'm a perfectionist. I don't like messing up is a way of life, but I still don't like. And I fell and just tumbled, and they couldn't grab me up, so I just kept rolling down. Ended up like on my back, on my help. You know, we were doing a fake Halo.
Yeah.
Halo. Yeah, that happened.
I mean, there must be so many stories like that going on around.
Oh yeah, typically it's AJ.
I can imagine. Why would that? Well, that doesn't even surprise me. Neil. It really doesn't.
He's like, because he's got the big gun. I got the long gun. He got the big gun.
Yeah.
The 249, and then he's got the 240. He's like running around. He's like, and he always ends up slipping or doing something. He forgets. He don't tie his shoes sometimes, man. I always have to make AJ. He's like, what? Character choice. Keep going.
See, I remember I'm usually the clumsy one. I remember way back when I used to be in the reserve army, just training. Nothing more than training at weekends. That's as far as it got. But I was always I had the big GPMG, you know, the massive. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then I was on patrol. We were in Salisbury Plain, which is like marshland and just like green grass hills and things. And everyone was patrolling nicely. And then they turned around and were like, "Where the hell is Chris gone?" And they just saw they just saw this little hand come out from a bog. I'm not joking. It was a water bug which went right up to there on me. And I just took one step and it was like, whoop, and they just saw this little hand with a rifle up going, "Help!"
That sounds like AJ. He's always a trooper because he just keeps going.
Exactly. That's how it goes.
Yes.
Excellent. I mean, I've got loads of questions came in for you, Neil, which is just a testament. Which is whenever I get to say I'm talking to someone from SEAL team, everyone's just like, yes, piles in it. So the first,
it doesn't. Honestly, typically at these shows, what happens is like normal military, spec ops, the community, they rip these shows apart because a lot of them, although they're trying to be good, they're not authentic.
Yeah,
get so much wrong, and you can't get 100% of the stuff right because we hide and change things purposely, so that people don't watch what we're doing and understand operational. Operational
security is not breached.
It's we can't do everything. I mean, they'll teach us it. They'll show us the stuff, and then they're like, "This is what we should be doing. This is what we're going to do."
Yeah,
which is really cool for us. But we're so very fortunate that the community, normal military families, are very, very kind, and they love the show. And they're not going to say, like, these are special operators. They're not going to say, "Oh, this show is the greatest thing ever." What they say is like, out of all the shows we've ever watched, out of all of them, you guys are getting it right in a lot of ways, especially between, just the way you guys interact with each other. And then a lot of the operation is sound. I mean, when we're on target, like, they'll see stuff. And that's I actually went. That was a mission that I did. I'm like, oh, that's cool. So that's very warm because I've done a lot of military movies and TV shows. More movies than anything. And sometimes you get a lot of. I mean, they'll mess with everything. Oh, dude, that mustache isn't red, bro. I don't understand. It'll be all stuff that they pick apart. But I have not experienced that with this show, and that's very kind. So I'm really appreciate it.
Yeah, now that's cool. I mean, I used to also do Vietnam reenacting about 12 years ago, and through that I made some very good friends with Vietnam veterans, and one of them, it's too long to go through the story that he did, but basically he had 25 surgeries within 12 months because of an attack, and claymores went off, and in 12 and he went straight back to his team in Vietnam because he didn't want to leave them alone. He was alert. They were alert team, the ranger team, and his wife messaged me and she said, "Please whenever you speak to anyone from SEAL team, tell them that this is the only show Riley has sat through and not said a word. He just sat there with a smile and nodded."
Oh, wow.
Because every other military show he's seen, exactly what you just said. He'll pick up on everything else. All these other military shows, he'll pick something up, and she said it's the only one he's not said a damn thing for because he just thinks it's just done. So it's so tact. the tactful side of it. Is yeah, you know, tactical. That's the one I was trying to think of.
Yeah,
it was great.
Oh, that's great, man. I appreciate that.
So yeah, no, I thought I'd throw it in. Yeah, I'd say so. The first one, as I mentioned to you, I think before, we've got people from all over the world. Stacey is from Reunion Island, out off the coast of Africa.
Wow.
You might know her. She tweets quite a lot to you and to all the SEAL team people. Stacey, I'm sure you'll see it when
we have our regulars that I always try to engage with.
Yeah.
I'm horrible about social media. They say I'm really good at it, but I'm really not.
You're better than a lot.
I try as much as I can, but I have a little less. My kids are in college, so but Max and AJ's children are fresh and new and young. So if I get a little bit more than they do, that's because they got a lot more on their plate. Work with that.
Cool. So Stacey actually asked, is Bravo 2 the role of your life? Because she so far. Or the best role that you've actually had? Difficult one, I guess.
I would say that, well, you know, I can't compare a job to another job, so I can't a job over another job. Obviously, you know, growing up with NWA and then getting to play one of the actual members of NWA, the founding members, you know, was a role of a lifetime. Playing a true story like in Sandcastle was a role of a lifetime. I mean, they all are privileges and honors to do. This one, and especially straight out of Compton, with having all the members, you know, besides Eazy-E, rest his soul.
Yeah.
There every day was, I mean, that was insane.
Can imagine.
This role, simply because I get to play my dad so many ways, is a role of a lifetime. Because I get to put in so many characteristics of my father, who is my hero.
Yeah.
My dad, the original Captain Brown is what they call him. He wasn't captain. He was in Vietnam, and he served during that time as a Marine, and captain, because he always in charge. He's just a no type dude, but a lot of compassion. And I put so much of him. But I've been blessed that the writers allow me to put so much of my stuff into Ray.
Yeah.
And a lot. So in that way, it is a role of a lifetime, especially with getting to do this stuff every day with all these people like, you know, Tyler Gray and Goldie and all these guys who teach us so much. You know, and then I have like Remy Adelik. I've got a lot of guys on the side that we don't even really mention.
Yeah.
That are showing me a lot about this work and what to do. Dan Briggs, love the guy. And, you know, it's that in that way, it's a privilege and an honor and a role of a lifetime because I've never been a regular on the show. So,
yeah. No, that's
in that way, yeah. Not over anything else. Because on Insecure, playing that guy is Chad is a role of a lifetime. People I'm working with, it's my comedy. So, yeah, in ways, yes, it is.
Okay, thank you. That's it's great that you can actually bring that, say, your own personal experiences and your own, especially from your father, and show it's a respect to him from you. Then that you know you're trying to do this in his light, and you know and bringing that just a respect into the show and honor him in that way. Yeah,
he watches it religiously with my mom. And he's always like, yeah, he over there. Yeah, look at him. Yeah, just like his dad. Like, and that's the biggest compliment
I can imagine.
Anyone ever could give me and say that I'm just like my dad. So
yeah, I know exactly. My dad was a minister, and the way he went about it, and obviously he was my biggest hero too, and. Yeah, and I feel the same way. I mean, I've had one or two people say, you're just like your dad, and that to me was the biggest privilege and honour in my entire life. I was just like, Wow, because I always think if I had as much integrity as he had in his little finger, then
Yeah,
that's
very similar to what I say. I would say if I was the 10th of the man that he is.
Yeah, exactly.
It's something.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's something that's, it stretches across generations. That's brilliant. Sophie, she would ask, what project have you done so far that's given you the biggest learning curve to get you to where you are today?
Straight out of Compton, only because I had never worked with a director who was that much of a orchestrator of a. He was like he was orchestrating a symphony.
Yeah.
He didn't say everything. He used him, and we didn't have a script. We had a script, and then they promised us a script, but we never got it.
Yeah.
We got pages every day. And because of that, I had to, and then we knew that if we got it wrong, we would be destroyed.
Yeah.
So we had so much pressure to get it right. And so there was so much training that we did for when I was a DJ. I had to learn how to be a DJ, an actual DJ, and mix records live.
Cool.
Stage performance, who taught us to learn from DJ Rob Shots to DJ, and then Dub C taught us the stage performance.
Yeah.
I mean, these were actual people. So we had to get it right, and then didn't have a script. So we had to learn how to actually put on the skin and be these guys perfectly.
Yeah.
And no matter what they gave us, respond in kind. And be consistent. That one prepared me for my next job and my next job and next job.
Yeah.
And each job though does that. I mean, I think that one was because I had never had a job I was so stressed out. The first 2 weeks I went to my doctor and he just looked at me in front of my wife. He was like, "Everything okay?" I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "You're looking stressed." And I was like, "Why see it?"
Yeah.
I did not sleep. I never left set. I always say I never left set on that show because we worked so long, trained so long, and then when I slept, all I could hear was F. Gary Gray saying back to one, and I never. That was so ingrained in that movie, and but it taught me. I think everything that I go in as an empty cup, because an empty cup you can always put something into. If you're already full, you can learn nothing. So I take it to each job. So that one prepared me for my next job, which would prepare me for my next job.
Yeah.
And like this in particular, I learned how to be the best friend of someone by Richard Schiff. Who we did Dirk Gently. That's how I learned how to be like the perfect partner.
Okay.
The best, to create that chemistry and camaraderie like we've been there for 15, 20 years. Yeah. So much, man. Like, that dude was like one of my best guys. I love him to death. He showed me so much. So I take that right into this show. So, but I probably had the biggest learning. Like, this stuff I knew. I didn't know how to do it on so high of a level.
Yeah.
I've done so much military training, like Battle of Los Angeles and Tiger. First movie was a military movie. Yeah. So yeah, Compton really did a number on me.
I can tell. I mean, that's a Compton's a fantastic movie, and to hear how much you actually put into it and what you had to do to get it so right, it's just phenomenal. Oh
yeah. But I do that with all my work.
Yeah.
I just love what I do.
And that's a passion. It's a passion that you do have to have, and it's lovely to see that when I talk to people on my show, I just get so absorbed in the in the passion and the infectious that comes through when you talk. It's great. And Richard Schiff, I totally agree. One of my favourite actors. He was one of my favourite characters ever in The West Wing as well. Toby was
that was my show, bro. That was my show.
Oh yeah,
I still go back and watch. Just like Game of Thrones, I can go back and watch it over.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, it helped me understand it.
There's.
Yeah. Oh, I lost you then.
Oh, yeah. No,
sorry, I lost. Yeah. That went a bit weird. Yeah. So, The West Wing. I mean, oh gosh, it taught me about American politics because obviously it's a very different system to over here, and and it was I've got a friend who was a legislative aide for the Democratic Party in Ohio, and she told me to watch it because I was taking interest in US politics years ago.
It's so good.
It is. Why can't we have them in the White House?
Never
mind.
Amen.
Yeah. That's a whole other topic, and I'll be here for the rest of the night.
The Mandela effect. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Cool. Jenny Holchiker, I hope that's the name right, is what brand of beer do you drink on the show? That'd be interesting. What brand of beer? Yeah.
Liberty.
Okay.
It's called Liberty Anthem. It's an American beer made up on the show. It's a near beer.
Yeah.
So like a non-alcoholic beer is what I'll ask for. Well, it's just water in there, but I always get non-alcoholic beer because I like the taste of beer. I'm a beer guy. Of course, I don't drink. I go for 6 months a year without drinking anything, but I the taste of a non-alcoholic beer just because my wife and I like beer, man.
no one's gonna hold you against that.
I was like taking Dad's can, like he's like, "Boy, go grab me another beer." I go take his old can and walk it in something. Something just a little swallow in the bottom. Yeah, come here, boy. Let me smell you, bro. Huh? What are you guys?
Yeah, I didn't do anything, Dad.
Talking about what's beer? It's for breakfast. It's nothing. It's not even alcohol. Get out of here.
Yeah.
I love.
Oh God.
So yeah, that's Liberty Anthem beer on the show. It's a CBS beer essentially.
All right, excellent. Because I think that's one thing. Season 1 was hilarious when Clay and Max came on the show. It was like how many crates of beer he kept having. I was killing myself laughing. It's like every time he said something, that's another crate. Yeah.
It's beer.
Yeah.
Got to do it.
That was really.
There's another character that comes on. Another SEAL. The only reason why we didn't do it, EOD guy to Rough and Prentice because he's not a SEAL. But had he feel that we had to go through Green Team and that we had to draft, we would have caught hell too. Everybody.
Oh yeah, everyone gets it.
Yeah, Liberty Anthem.
Brilliant. Twitter account SEAL Team Fans UK. So another one from the UK is. If you could spend the day with any celebrity or famous person, alive or dead, who would it be, and what would you do for the day?
Any celebrity?
Yeah. Oh, a famous person. Anyone.
Famous person?
Yeah, anyone.
Anyone. Famous person. Wow. That is a tall order. And what would I do?
Yeah. What would you do for the day? That's a tough question, that, because I mean, to be fair, I couldn't. I don't think I could single down that to one person.
I could single it out.
There's a few people,
because I mean, well, it's interesting because I'm going to say who I'm going to say, but there's also a second good mention, and that's going to be the second would be Winston Churchill.
Mm-hmm.
God, I would have loved to pick his brain to watch him operate, and I would literally just shadow him and see how he went about his day in the worst of times.
Yeah.
And how he kept his head on straight, and how he virtually saved the world. But mainly for me, it would be Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I would love to see what it took to love so unconditionally.
Yeah.
And I'd like to understand how... I would like to see if it was difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it was. And how, in spite of how very hard it was still done because it had to be.
Yeah.
So I would just like to sit around and talk theology, and see if, he had a different belief system than the one that we sometimes put onto him, and how close our writings are, because it's all one and the same, right? And this is the thing, even with his faith, everybody sees a car accident differently.
Mm-hmm.
Same car accident, 3 different ways.
Yeah.
Torah, Quran, Holy Bible. Stand car accident, 3 different perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
To think that one perspective is right over the other is crazy to me. But I'm sure Jesus would have like an ultimate perspective. Like, you know, it would be awesome to see that if he had the same questions that we all had.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Still, in spite of, did what he felt he was told and had to do, what he was compelled to do. I think that would be cool. But both those guys would be like very interesting to. Because life is very hard, and courage is doing something in spite of fear, not of fear. And I'm so very impressed by the courage that he had. And in today's time, it would be, you know, President Obama, because he dealt with a lot, you know, and still so cool.
Exactly.
What one about him, the man is cool. It's ice. He never lost his cool. He was always like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, those answers. I mean, you're right. I mean, I say my dad was a theologian and a minister, and so that's why I was smiling when I heard you say who you'd like to spend a day with anyway. Because I was like, yeah, that's actually quite cool. Because, and what you said about the 3 different views, it's perfect as well. Because I think I don't think how many people actually realise. If you read the Quran, it mentions Mary actually more times, I think, than the Bible does.
It mentions Jesus more times.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, mentions the Messiah known as Jesus.
Yeah. And I don't think many people know that, but you know, it is. It's just 3 different views on it. I actually, just as an aside, I finished listening to Dan Brown's The Lost Symbol at the weekend. I had it as an audio book, so I've been listening to it on my commute into work and everything. And that threw a take on it as well, in the fact that heaven is the mind, and Jacob's ladder is the spine going up from the body, which is and it explained it all at the end. And I sat there and I was listening, you know, obviously in depth, and I was thinking, it's only a book, but I said there's a theological concept of what the Bible actually means, and that, you know, we are gods in ourselves, and that's we create, and we create in the image and temple of the temple, obviously of your mind, and I was just sat there and I thought, damn. This Dan Brown seems to have it perfectly switched on. This is how we should be looking. I was like, this is how we should.
If you can perceive it, you can believe it. If you can believe it, you can perceive it. If you can perceive it, it can happen. It's just created in His image, because the mind is so strong and so very powerful and so limitless. And you know, like I said, that's why I would like to sit with Jesus.
Exactly, and find out what he actually
your mind, sir.
Yeah,
you know, and. You know, it'd be funny. He's like, man, I don't even read that thing. you know, what's a Christian? You know, he'd be like, you know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I do. Yeah, I do love that joke as well. I've got to say, it's a joke about there. He goes, "What part of you thinks that I'd want to be remembered with a cross?"
So, you know. Yeah, I know. That's why I said I'm thinking, and that's why I talk to God every morning, noon, and night, and I just try to. Have him be the first voice inside my head, because there is nothing negative in God, and when you try to put something negative inside of it, I think you're on the wrong track. So I would like to learn from Christ and see, you know, what He had to say about things. But also, like I said, I would like to learn from Chris. Listen, Winston Churchill never saw a drink he didn't like, you know. But in spite of all that, you know, being a hard drinker, hard smoker, 90 years, he survived with the most stress I could imagine.
Yeah.
That a man could take on. Jesus as well. Yeah. This is a lot of stress that man can endure. And
definitely.
Still do what universally feels right.
Definitely.
I hope I answered that question right.
Oh, no, you did. They were fantastic answers, to be fair. They were really, really philosophical and theological. It's great to have that kind of a debate, and especially in today's age, like, you know, with so much, like you say, well, why people argue just which one's better. It's why you're all worshipping the same. It's my opinion. They're, everyone's worshipping the same God. You just see it slightly differently. You've each got your own. No one's better than the other. Just work together and realise that love, compassion, and caring for your fellow person is what every one of those books teaches.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and look, you know, there's nothing in this world that some man can't make a little bit better or a little bit cheaper. It's old, like haiku. So you'd be a fool to think that people didn't shape things to their liking. But but you'd also be a fool to think something as massive as God fits inside pages.
Yeah.
I love the pages because they're my gateway into belief, and it's a foundation of showing me how to walk with God. But at a certain point, the walk with God is between you and God, and not between you and the book and God.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At a certain point, you realize that it's not a conduit; it's actually a block between you and ultimate understanding. So, or a stepping block.
Yeah.
Stepping stone. So, that's what I would love to do. I think that would be the coolest thing ever.
Fantastic. That is really, really nice. That's a really good answer. I say I could talk to you all night on that one alone. Excellent. Taking you back to Ray. Leonie Els, how much of a mind? Oh, hang on. Yeah, she goes. How much of a mind change did you go through between being yourself and then playing Ray? How does it? Is it an easy transition just to sort of switch into from yourself to Ray?
Depends on what he's going through. At the time, there are operational battle scars that Ray carries that will not. At this point, Ray has historically have great coping mechanisms because he speaks to his wife and compartmentalizes very well. But at a certain point, deal with the consequences of his actions. He'll question were they right. He can't do that now while he's operating because then you
got to be fixed.
Long, you have to go. So, it depends on what he's going through. It's hard. Sometimes it's harder to wash it off, and a lot of times it's easier.
Yeah.
Just because Ray is closer to who I am than a lot of the characters that I play. So there isn't much that I have to do to break that, just because it's who I am in a lot of ways. Each one of my characters I play has a certain part of me in them.
Yeah.
But none of them are all me. But there's a good percentage in Ray, maybe some more than most. So it's not terribly difficult, but sometimes it's not terribly difficult. But I bring home part of my work. Yeah, I had this. There's this thing that's going on with Ray and Naima. And I had to call Naima. I had to call Parissa again. Hey, honey, I'm sorry for yelling. It affects me. Yeah, my work does affect me. Because I try to make it as visceral and as real as possible. But it's like it's a job. I'll leave it there.
Yeah. I can imagine how hard it can be to sort of separate your character sometimes especially when you've got such long days and you are that character for the majority of the day, for the majority of several weeks, months at a time. That's who you are, is that character. So I can just see how difficult that would be sometimes to maybe come out of it again so quick.
Oh yeah, I'm happy though about it, because I get to wear baseball caps again and just in flannel most of the time, simple stuff. I get to do stuff that I wanted to do before, but I had to look a different. You know what I mean? I had to be more of what my job really asked for me. This is much more my experience.
Excellent. I've only got a couple more questions left. I'm sure you're glad to know, so I can let you get back to your day. Sina Buckner has said she knows what being a SEAL's wife is hard. So will we be seeing your wife more on screen? Your screen wife, obviously. Because that's quite a good relationship that we see there. So we know more. We will be seeing more of Ray's home life, I think, is what she's trying to get
I think you'll be seeing more of the effect of the work and how Naima and Ray deal with it. Them last. That is his soulmate. And what you'll find out, what is the conflict between the two of them.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize this. Naima's an atheist.
Oh, okay.
And they work.
Yeah.
Because of that conversation that I was just telling you about there.
Yep.
They talk. They talk to each other. They love each other so much that it transcends belief systems. And he essentially is believing that, I mean, the Bible does say through him she is saved. So I think he'll spend his life poking at her, and she'll spend her life poking at him. And we'll get to some more of that as we go along here. I say I've been with my wife this year 25 years.
Fantastic. Congrats.
Thank you.
That's a good time.
We always say that marriage is a ticket to annoy someone for the rest of their lives and still be cool about it. Which is awesome, because I get to mess with my wife all the time, and she definitely messes with me. My wife is horrible. I'm like, you were just mean, and she's like, you like it. But so the same thing with Carissa. I mean, with Carissa Parker, who plays the night, and there is a kindness. There's a comedy between them two that we haven't really seen. I think we'll get to see some of that. I see how they deal with adversity and how they deal with conflict. They have rights just like anybody else, and anybody who loves each other that passionately also has the capacity to be really, really rude. You just think Ray is so very good. You can't be good without having something truly that bad on the other side. The yang, but both both sides of the coin, they exist. So I think we'll see kind of all that, and I'm hoping to see a lot more of them. And we've talked about that, John Glenn and all the writers. And this next storyline is going to be a lot going on with Ray and Naima and the team, and it's very exciting. The last 8 episodes or so, 8 or 9 episodes. We're gonna see more of Ray and Naima than we probably ever have in how they work out their issues, because she's his relief valve, and he's hers. She has a very tough job. These kids, she's an RN. She's always busy. She's being a housewife. She's been a military wife. She has to worry about her husband going. She has to believe that her husband is, no matter what, is such a solid operator that he's going to back home. But the actuality is she could be a single mom. She could be turned into a widow. So she blocks out a lot of the BS for Ray, and he does for her as well. So they lean into each other. I think it's beautiful. So hopefully you're going to see a lot more of that.
No, that'd be really good as well. It's lovely to see that. Lovely to see those other storylines in there as well. And I think that's another part of the show which is great, because you do see the familial life, and you can see the turmoil of what being a SEAL does to a family, and and the support that's there, and the heartache, and obviously which we've seen quite a lot of, and things like that going through. So that is it'd be good to see more sort of Ray's side of that as well with.
Oh yeah.
So the penultimate question, the last question from a fan before I go on to my signature question and then wrap it up, and is from Donna Horsley, and she would like to know, if you had not become an actor, where would you be now?
If I had not become an actor, I would be in the military. It's what I thought I was going to do. I wanted to be a federal marshal. I wanted to go to the military. I wanted to be a Navy SEAL. But the problem is you got to join the Navy. And I was like, if I didn't make the team and I had to do a job in the Navy, I was going to do that. So I thought that it'd be best if I was to do something to the effect, of getting drafted to the unit, Delta. And Rangers lead the way. So I said, I'd go and try to be part of 1st Ranger Battalion. But my dad always wanted me to be an officer. He never wanted me to be a grunt.
Yeah.
And I did ROTC for 4 years, and I was dual enrolled in college, so I was working on a degree when I was in high school. And then I was working towards a scholarship to West Point.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the path that I was taking. And then my wife got out. My wife graduated. She's my wife now, but she's my girlfriend. She graduated before me. Went down to MEPS, was going to the Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
Got all signed up, got all ready. And then, I was like, well, I'm going to be in the Army and you're going to be in the Air Force. And he's like, we'll make it work. And she got pregnant while I was in high school. And one thing the Army does not allow, if you're going to get, at that time, $300,000 scholarship to West Point, is have a baby.
Oh, okay.
I got to have a family. So they said I needed to sign over full custody to her. Right. Which I would not do. So I forfeited any parts of that scholarship. And she couldn't go. She was pregnant. So then
double whammy.
Yeah, it was like, oh well, I'm supposed to be doing something else. Yeah. But I would have been, I figured I would go to the military, go to the teams, get out, and become a U.S. Federal Marshal. I wanted to put the bad guys away. I wanted to catch the bad guys.
Full respect.
For me, and I was constantly pushed into this work, and then eventually, look, I'm playing a Navy SEAL, so it's a privilege and an honor, and this is way more lucrative and much safer. Yeah, so I'm thankful about it. Did someone have a question about Ray's faith?
I've done just looking. I've got to look back actually. I don't think I saw one. I think it was the crisis of faith. I can't remember who asked it. I've technical glitch again. Someone asked about when will we see an end? Or we see an end to Ray's crisis of faith at the moment?
That's the one. I think I saw.
That was a good one.
Oh, that's a good question. I can't remember who asked.
No, I'll have a quick look because I've got it down somewhere. But yeah, it was based. When will we see an end to Ray's crisis of faith? Was the question, and that is a good one because obviously, ever since Ray's been in that situation where had to kill that young lad, it's there has been that ongoing, and
I think, and that's a good question, and I think I appreciate the people who are tracking it. It's called a crisis of faith. But I think it's just the walk of faith, the journey of faith. Paul was Saul. That was part of his journey. Yeah, being a guy who hunted Christians and then becoming the ultimate one. It wasn't a crisis at any given time. I don't think. I just think it was that walk of faith, and I think even the most faithful guy, the most well put together guy, like Ray Perry, this is why I want to talk to Jesus. Yeah, will have doubts that are within himself, but are indicative of a different problem. What's going on with Ray? There's something unresolved. That the effect of it is the faith, how he's dealing with his home life, how he's dealing with his team. Yeah, I think as it all. What happens when the foundation, what happens when the rock of the team cracks? Yeah. And how does it affect the team? And how does it affect the people around Ray peripherally? I think that'll play itself out through the rest of this season. Okay. And no matter what within the walk of faith, I think we all end up getting back to the source, the Most High. Yeah. This is where the journey takes us, even through the ups and downs. Oh, this is crazy. What are you talking about? Jonah and the whale? What? You inside a whale? I like science. And then, you look and you study and you train and you pray, and then something pushes you into this area, and then you remember why it is you had so much faith in the work in the Most High. It's because it worked, and it's real, and it saved you. So I think that this is just part of Ray's journey in faith. I don't think he's if we're saying he's losing it, I mean he's never gonna. It's gone. But I don't think it's gone. I just think it's changing in a way, and I think it's it's taking shape, and I think maybe the new shape will be even better. But as it is now, he's trying to figure it out. And I don't think it's going to get scary for a while, because Ray is at his core. There's a very angry, scary individual there, and no one knows that. They only know when Ray talks about his past.
Yeah,
I think you might see some of it come out.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. It was Debbie Stevens. I found the two.
Awesome.
Yeah, so thank you, Debbie.
Awesome.
Cool. Yeah, that was a very good answer again. Brilliant, Neil. Thank you. My signature question before, just a quick one, is this is a bit of a fun one. I had a guy on 2 years ago who's been working with Jim Henson for 30 years, and he worked on Labyrinth. He's been in Star Wars, and someone asked this question to him, and I thought it was such a good question that I thought I'd ask everybody. So
the original Labyrinth.
The original. He was one of the. He was a he was a puppeteer.
I love.
It was a fantastic, brilliant film, isn't it?
Dark Crystal, Labyrinth. I love all those.
He worked on the Dark. Yeah, he was one of the puppeteers on the Dark Crystal. He was the puppet.
Really?
He did the goblin puppeteer of the goblins on Labyrinth.
It's so freaky.
Yeah.
You got wings. Of course I am, sis. I'm a girl.
It is. I scared the hell out of me, that film, when I was watching it when I was young.
Yeah, dude.
Really was freaky. But the question was, if you could have a Muppet character created after you, what kind of Muppet, as your own personality, what kind of Muppet would it be and why? And it could be a new Muppet, or it could be a mix of Muppets, or...
a cross between Animal and the Cookie Monster. I don't know, man. Animal and the Cookie Monster with a little... that great Gonzo! I don't know, man. Something like that. I don't know. I think that'd be cool.
That is the exact thing Justin Marnock said. A cross between Animal and the Cookie Monster.
Yeah.
You guys are tuned into each other so much.
And Groucho, is it Groucho? Was it the trash can?
Yeah, Groucho. Yeah.
Yeah,
Groucho, the trash can monster. Yeah.
Yeah, the Groucho, the Cookie Monster, and maybe some Gonzo. A little pressure. A Kermit the Frog here.
Yeah.
I auditioned for the Waka Waka Waka. I auditioned for Muppet Babies.
Did you?
I had to do all of the
Oh, cool. That's pretty cool to hear. I mean, I did my impression to him of Kermit, and he just went, okay. Everyone else thought, I say that. Everyone else was polite and was saying, that's really cool. He was like, all right, okay. But I was like, that's what it is. Why are there so many songs about rainbows, or Piggy? Or we need it on set, Piggy.
That's great. That's great. I was doing the Muppet Baby.
Yeah, the baby. Yeah.
The baby version of it. So
we're gonna go to the nursery.
He was like. He was a baby.
Yeah, I love that cartoon as well. That's great.
I have to take these and back them up,
Excellent. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, Neil, is there anything before I stop recording that you'd like to say to the people who are going to watch and listen to this?
I appreciate each and every last one of you guys, and I really hope you stick with us. Always, we're going to change. We're coming back at 10 o'clock, so be prepared. Set those DVRs. This next run it's going to take some crazy turns, even more so than last year's finales, and I just hope everyone really still digs it. I think it's going to be really cool, stuff we haven't done before. So just continue to tune in, and we love you to death, and I appreciate you guys' interaction and to keep sticking with us. So and we can come back for a season 3, hopefully.